So who implemented an idea this week in your business? Raise your hand if you implemented something. Good, good. We're going to have our little speed of implementation contest right now. The time has come. By the way, Nordine donated 2 copies of his new book, Mind Over Body, to the first and second place winners, and I have those up here. So again, first place, 2-hour marketing makeover consultation with me personally, where I'll take a look at your marketing and give you advice like I've given here and help you rebuild your marketing campaign. Second prize, copy of Piranha Marketing, Joe Polish, Dean Graziosi's book, and a copy of Mind Over Body for both the winners. Third prize, you're fired. Who's seen Glengarry Glen Ross? Okay, good. If you haven't seen that movie, you need to watch it. It's a good one. Okay, stand up if you implemented an idea in your business this week that you learned at the program. Stand up. I'm serious. Stand up if you've implemented an idea, and especially if you plan on being involved in the competition. Good. Round of applause for these folks. Nice work. And I'll bet if we went around, stay standing please, don't sit down. I'll bet if I went around right now and said, all right, how well does your business do, and how well does your business do, and how well does your business do, that these people make a lot more money than the folks that are sitting down. That's just the way it is. Remember when I asked, I forgot what I even asked, and I had everybody raise their hands. A/B split test daily. Yeah, who does an A/B split test daily? And it was all the multi-million-dollar, $20, $30, $40 million folks. Interesting. Okay, so stay standing if the thing that you implemented truly was something that was new that you did. It wasn't just a take on something that you had been doing before where you tweaked a little thing and now you're trying to call it something so that you can get into the contest. Very bad, you men in the back there. But thanks for being honest and sitting down. All right, good. Now, stay standing if the idea that you implemented resulted in over $1,000 worth of value, $1,000 worth of measurable, demonstrable value being created. Stay standing. If it's over $1,000. Stay standing if it was over $1,500. Are you standing over there? Okay. Stay standing if it was over $2,000. $2,500. $3,000. $5,000. Okay. Will the remaining standing contestants please equally balance out at these microphones right over here? First of all, thank you very much for implementing. For that, I admire you. So here's the deal, guys. You got 60 seconds. 60 seconds. You need to say what you were doing, how you implemented, and the results that you got, and you need to talk about how you measure it so that everybody can hear this. And remember, these are entrepreneurs here. These are not dumbasses. Okay? Wait a minute. That's not what I meant. Go.
Okay, hi, my name is Brett Fogel from the Options University. You might remember I stood up on Monday and announced that we did a survey to our list, and we've really taken it a few steps farther. And also want to point out this is a fast action contest because I really want to win. This is something we implemented entirely from this week. And basically, we surveyed our list to find out exactly who they were with some demographics and basic information, but also used the questions and information from the avatar page directly, their fears and frustrations, their aspirations and goals, and what they really wanted, because we didn't really know We implemented that, it created that survey on Monday and sent that out to our list of 42,000 people before the end of the day. And by Tuesday the next day, we had 1,800 responses. And what they told us was very interesting, which I'll get into in a minute.
You're running out of time. You probably got about 20 seconds left.
Okay, just to keep it quick. We created a product based on what they told us, and I had my copywriters working on it the last 24 hours. We created a new product based on what they wanted and released it this morning, and have already generated $7,500 that I just pulled from our shopping cart. And so that was interesting. It really showed that it resonated with the market, something we hadn't done before. But what I really want to point out also is that we're donating it all to charity, so I'm hoping to hit 10,000 by noon.
Nice. Thank you, Brett.
Hi, my name is Maceo Jordan from Arizona. I did a similar thing. I created a survey because I really wanted to get to know who my clients were, and through that process, created an entirely new category for my website, moved the free line probably 16 miles beyond where everybody else is. 2 new products, converted 30% more to my expireds, or the people who've refunded, with a completely new product that they'd never seen before, off of content that I already had, but hadn't really thought that they would want. Plus, I've got 2 different surveys with all kinds of split test data.
What was the new category that you created?
The new category is, oh no, it's on that piece of paper. Give me 2 pieces of information, and in 18 months you'll be retired.
Okay.
So what I figured out was these people want freedom. They want retirement. So I'll make
Instead
it
of
simple
just
for
to
them.
be sold something.
Right, exactly. So I've got the design going to completely redo the website, completely redo the membership experience, give them
You got about 10 seconds.
a way to get into it. We made $36,000. 18 of that was in the last, I think, 18 hours, and then about $3,500 to the people that had actually returned product.
Nice work. A new category and 36 grand. While taking care of your customers. I like that. I like that a lot.
Hi, Tom Bell, MLM 2.0 Blueprint.com. And I think anybody that's standing up here, whether they win or not, they won.
Absolutely.
So the thing that I did, I have to say, it was something that I had planned, but historically, these promotions make $1,000 or $2,000. So I feel like, having said that, that deserves a spot up here. Here's why.
Yeah.
We did a multiple question survey prior to our teleseminar, and I actually read the damn things. We went over, we didn't categorize, I really poured through them, and I found out that this particular market is 2.0 tool buyers. And they were interested in the usual suspects, money, leads, sales. But just behind that, they mentioned that they didn't have basic internet knowledge. I've never done a seminar with that knowledge in mind. And number 5 was they used their own words. This wasn't radio pull downs. They said, we don't know who to trust. We don't know, there's so many scams out there, we don't know who to trust. So instead of doing a $47 or $67 thing, we said, all right, here's the deal. It's going to be $1,297, and I don't have the faintest freaking idea what I'm going to sell you. 40 IMs come in on the webinar. I love this guy. So we're going to put this thing together based on what you want, and we're going to talk to you every day. So we wound up selling 12 units at $1,297, just under $15K. And when we're on the phone with the partners afterwards, they say, okay, this was a really good win, this was really good. I think we're going to do this. And in sticking with the avatar, which, by the way, we built a comprehensive
You
avatar.
got 7 seconds.
7 seconds. So I pushed the partners to not just, recommend it, but to go to their people and ask them as promoters what they want out of a promotion.
Nice work. Nice work.
Hi, my name is Andrew Gray from Australia.
What's your name?
Andrew Gray.
Andrew Gray.
Yep. And I actually implemented something a few months back from your original survey, the business survey lead gen thing that you did. And I got a
You got like 50 seconds left. I'd
Yeah,
get to the bottom line.
I got a kick in the pants to create a back-end product. So I implemented that. It's been converting really well. doing about 20%.
What'd you do this week?
Yeah, this week when you were on stage with Scott and just chatting about different profit centers in your business, I thought, oh, you moron, why don't you just email your customer base about the back-end product? So I did that.
You've never emailed your customer base about your back-end product?
Not that one, no. It's only a month old.
Okay.
So I sent an email out to 14,000 people. That was, Thursday night, our time here. And as of this morning, we'd done $66,738.
Evan, how are you?
How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, nice to meet you again.
Oh, wait.
And the margin's 100% too.
100% margin?
Yeah.
Well, now I know you're lying because you...
What? Take off, 0.5 or whatever it is for
Oh,
credit
it was a
cards?
little transaction fee and...
Okay, right.
Oh, okay.
Fine.
Well, I mean, refunds.
Fine. Let's call it 90 then, you big girl's blouse. Come on.
All right, good job. Way to be honest. All right, David, how's it going?
Good, Evan, how are you?
Good. I'm in a hurry.
David Wygant, yeah, I'm fast, you know that. David Wygant, davidwygant.com. What I did is I basically did two different things. One, on my blog, I wrote a nice blog this morning asking all the people who read it, what do you want to know about dating advice over the next 60 days? What type of stuff do you want to learn? What do you want to know in order to hook up and meet somebody by the end of the year? Taking that whole fear of what's going to happen between now and New Year's because people don't want to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 by themselves. Second thing that I did, I looked at my best 1,000 customers and sent them an email saying I'm doing 3 coaching weekends left this year. That's it, fear of loss. Wrote a quick little email to them and basically told them I'm not going to coach anybody else again until 08, probably February of 08, due to the fact that January was all booked up. Within 25 minutes, I got my first $10,000 client. About 2.5 hours later, I got the second one, and about 4 hours later, I got the third one. So I filled $30,000 in slots in a matter of 4 hours, 100% profit because it's just my time and that's it. No transaction fees because I only take checks or cash. So that's what I did, implementing it. And I did it from my BlackBerry. So do I get a BlackBerry commercial too on top of that?
You did the whole thing from your BlackBerry, all of it.
I did the whole thing from my BlackBerry on the way to dinner last night.
Get out of here. I don't like people like you.
Hey, Evan. I came the other day and talked about...
Introduce yourself.
Okay. Nikhil Parekh from Sydney, Australia. I came on, I think it was Tuesday, and told you that I'd send out an email the night before talking about the custom avatar. I visualized the person that actually wanted to get out of their business and wanted to do something online. And email came back, said, there's money to be, I've got money to spend, and it was a $10,000 client on that first day. First payment comes in on Monday, and the next one's on the 15th of November, and a 15% revenue share. That was all created when I just spoke to you just before you went on stage. So
nice work, Nikhil.
very much.
Thank you for sharing. Awesome.
Hi, my name is Oliver, and I am from Tucson, Arizona. I did 2 things. One was promise myself not to work more than 2-3 hours this week, and only work when I'm in the car or on breaks. The rest in a seminar or with my family, because I haven't been doing that a lot. So what I did was stop the multitasking, and I told all of the ones working for me to give me the list of the guys that had refunds recently or the guys that are interested in something. And I personally called them up, and I did the focus on them. I used my avatar, which I haven't done before. Focus on them, gave them a free 15 to 20-minute phone coaching session, and at the end, I got about, let's say, 5 out of 10 signed up for a personal coaching, which is around the 2,000 range per person. So I was able to do that while driving back and forth in the traffic and during breaks.
Nice work. So about 10 grand. Made about 10 grand. Well done.
Hey, my
Adam.
name is Adam Schron. I'm CEO of Ascentive software company from Philadelphia, and we have software that helps people with everyday computer problems. And this one is a $600,000 win, and I shouldn't get a prize for it because I had a head start after talking with Evan about the personal coaching. So what we did was we raised the price on the back-end program just a little bit to test this theory that the customers would be, more in depth with us at that point. Ended up getting a 15% lift, and over the next 12 months, if we keep growing at the current rate, $600,000. If we stop growing, $400,000. So thank you.
600 grand in
600
12
grand.
months you're going to get extra.
But no prize for me because I got a head start.
Good. For them.
For them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for sharing.
Hi, this is Christian Michelson, coachingbusinessrocketlauncher.com. And I thought the contest was who could implement the most, not who could take one idea and make a bunch of money from it.
Fine. You got 60 seconds.
Okay, so I set up a team meeting with all the people on my team which I've never done before. I raised the price of free sessions that sell and set up a 3-way split test to see which price is going to be sell the best.
Ooh, good one. Good one.
All right. I asked my product, the company that makes my products, I asked them to take pictures of my products, just like you had shown for your DYD stuff, which I don't have pictures of my stuff on my site, so I asked them to do that. I sent some of my products to key strategic relationship sorts of people who can promote me, who haven't yet. Let's see. I also wrote an amazing article based on some ideas that Joe Polish and that the guy, the real estate guy who was up here, talked about how, like, what it felt like to put it all on his credit card and all that stuff. So I got back into the mind of where I was when I first started my coaching business and wrote like an amazingly deep, painful, and honestly connecting article.
I believe you probably. Who believes he implemented more things than anyone else in the room? Raise your hand. Okay, so we believe you. Now land the plane. Get to the money.
Well, that was, yeah, I didn't, my business has been, I have my own 4.5-day live event next week.
Yep.
So I didn't do any new promotion because I already had everything going. So I didn't generate new revenue specifically from this. I did have one person sign up for my event, and I got a new $2,500 a month coaching client while I was here, but those were just things that were happening already anyway.
Okay, so should we let him keep qualifying because he implemented so much? Yeah. Leave him in? Okay, good. Have you chosen your favorite? You know who you're going to vote for? We're doing this round of applause style, okay? Got to pick one. Applaud for one person. Tell me your name again. Andrew. The guy behind you.
Maceo.
Spell it.
M-A-C-E-O.
Maceo. Great. Brett, you did a survey, the avatar questions. You sold $7,500 worth of product, and you're giving it to charity.
That's right.
Who votes for Brett? Okay, let me try this again. You can only clap for one person.
I guess I win.
Now do you understand? Okay, good. That's how I'm doing it. Okay, who votes for Brett?
Charity, remember.
Nice. Good job. Maceo.
Yes.
You did a survey, you created a new category, 2 pieces of info. You focused on freedom and retirement. You focused on your client. You made $36,000 worth of sales, most of it in the last 18 hours. Who votes for Maceo? All the logical business types, of course. The ones that care about money. All right, Tom. You did a survey prior to your teleseminar. You actually listened to your clients. You said, we don't actually know what we're going to sell, and you sold almost $15,000 worth of product. Nice work. Who votes for Tom? Okay, good. Andrew. Andrew emailed his customer base about a new product, back-end product for the first time. Did $66,378 worth of sales. Who votes for Andrew? Nice. David Wygant surveyed his audience on a blog using his BlackBerry, sent to his best 1,000 coaching customers, signed up 3 $10,000 coaching clients in under 4 hours. 100% profit, all paid by check. And I actually believe that because I know him. Who votes for David? Good? Nikhil, where are you at? Please step forward. I don't know why that just sounds really dramatic. Created a new customer avatar, created a new coaching program on the spot, made it up, and sold a client for $10,000 on the spot. $10,000. Who votes for Nikhil? Thank you. This is cruel, isn't it? Oliver. Oliver decided not to work this week more than 2 to 3 hours. He did personal calls from the car because he wanted to spend the time here and with his family. He focused on his clients. He talked to 10. He converted 50% at 2K, sold about $10,000 worth of product. Totally new. Who votes for Oliver? Good, thank you. Adam, you're out. Christian, even though you made $600,000 the next year. Christian,
Yes.
you had a team meeting, you raised your price, you did a 3-way price split test, which, let's just give him a round of applause just for that. He's testing, he's got lots of pictures of his products, and he did implement more than anyone, probably. So, who votes for Christian? Okay. Will Brett, Tom, Andrew, and David stay standing? And will the rest of our contestants please sit down? Give them a round of applause for implementing. And thank you guys, because you truly are winners. Okay, let's try this one more time. It's the elimination round. You can only vote for one of them. Brett did the survey, asked the avatar questions, sold $7,500 worth of product. It's going to charity. Let's hear it for Brett. Tom Bell did a survey prior to the teleseminar, actually listened to his customers, sold 15K of something, and he didn't even know what he was going to give them. And he told him so. For Tom. Andrew emailed his customer base, told him about a back-end product for the first time, $66,378 in revenue. Who votes for Andrew? David Wygant surveyed his audience on a blog with his BlackBerry and sent his best 1,000 coaching customers an email. Within 4 hours, signed up 3 at 10K apiece, made $30,000 in less than 4 hours from his BlackBerry. Who votes for David? Andrew and Brett, please stay standing. And thank you guys. All right.
Can we add something real quick?
No. Sorry.
What, you're going to double up for charity now, eh? That's an applause, Milcar.
Well, the only thing can be added if he's going to donate the 66 grand to charity. No. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's stop this stuff.
I'd rather pay for the 2 hours.
All right. Brett, you did a survey. You asked the avatar questions. You sold $7,500 worth of product.
Last
you
4 hours. In the last 4 hours.
In 4 hours.
Last 4 hours.
In the last 4 hours.
And
last 4 hours.
And created a new product category, too. So.
And created a new product category. And he's donating it all to charity. Let's hear it for Brett. You can get about 12 words in to make it fair. You got anything else to say?
No, not really. I mean, I just stopped being stupid. I just went, duh, and went and implemented something. It's that simple.
Excellent. Andrew emailed his customer base, implemented something, told him about a new back-end product, 66 grand. Let's hear it for Andrew. Wow. This sounds kind of divided. Let's try this again.
Voting twice.
Can only cheer for one person, okay? Brett. Okay? Andrew. All right, guys.
We both win.
You both win.
I don't know if you remember, I talked about my website before, which was all about me. And they really have nothing to do about anyone else. Could I just ask Rick Raditz to stand up, please, and just go over to that microphone for a moment? I was having drinks.
Noah?
Yep.
60 seconds, and you've used 30.
Rick Raditz stopped me and said, Noah, I redid your website for you. This is Rick Raditz from marketingmakeovergenerator.com. We do not work together. I have spoken to Rick on the phone a couple of times. Yes. He just stopped me and said, oh, and we're also doing an A/B split test for you. And after I fainted and got up off the ground, I said, what? And this is up. He did everything. So I really can't take any credit for this, but that's the new website. I don't know if you can read what it says, but he wrote the headline. We recorded the message in his hotel room. There's an audio message on there, and you want to tell him about the numbers?
Do you want to know your percentage of opt-in rate?
The opt-in rate.
Final opt-in rate, 3 different headlines tested, 42%.
And what was his original opt-in rate?
Unknown, but probably very low.
You can kind of guess from what it was.
I can't believe you didn't split test against his control there so we could have results.
Well, that's me. I had no data.
He didn't have any data.
Jeez, guys.
It's not his fault. I had no data.
Yeah. Who thinks that 42% is pretty good for an opt-in page? Guys, thank you very much. Nice job implementing. Really appreciate it. Let's give these two guys a hand. So I'd like to introduce you to another friend that I've had for several years, also introduced to me by Joe Polish. His name is Jeff Smith. And Jeff is one of those guys that a lot of us know as having a different type of success from most people. And here he comes. Just give him a round of applause as he comes on here. What's up, buddy? Thanks, Jeff. And the reason why Jeff has a different type of success is that whenever one of us call up and talk to him, say, hey, Jeff, what are you doing? And he says, oh, just hanging out at Starbucks, reading a book, or hanging out at my house, playing around, goofing around on my computer, hanging out with a friend. I've never called Jeff or emailed him or anything, and he said, oh, I'm too busy. I don't have time to talk to you. Jeff, and maybe we should have a competition between Jeff and Dean Jackson for having the most time off and the best quality of life and also making the most money in net profit, real money in the bank terms. Jeff has coached over 1,000 business owners. He's been doing business coaching for 10 years plus, has done some very interesting and high-end coaching. Jeff's had a lot of coaching clients that he's charged and have paid him a lot more money than any of us will ever pay for business coaching. Let me put it that way. And he's the founder of the 2X+1 Mastermind coaching program. So one of the things I like about you, Jeff, is that you're more interested in the evolution of people and the evolution of business than you are in just the techniques and kind of the how-tos. And you focus more on the contextual things and the structures and the conditions and the things that I think are actually more important. Now, you also, though, know the value of the techniques. And you know that it's important to know what to do, and you integrate them, and you zoom from the context to the content and the bigger perspective to the individual. So can you talk a little bit more about that, maybe how you got this perspective and how things kind of came to be?
Oh, absolutely. And I think it does really fit in well with what you've shared all week, and I think your philosophy and context is probably the right word. Because I think what we tend to do as entrepreneurs is we're busy and we want to grow our business, and we're going all day long, and so the questions that we ask ourselves are, what else can I do? Or if all this stuff that I think that I have to do, how can I get it done faster? How can I get it done more efficiently, more profitably, or whatever? And I tend to take a step back from that and try to put it in that broader context, which Evan has been doing as well for the entire week. And I think maybe the slightly different context that I put everything in is to start with the question of, what how does the business fit into the entire world and into your life? And we often hear the phrase, business is the great game. And the perspective that I take for things is that that's true, but there's a greater game, and that greater game is life. And for all of us as entrepreneurs, we have the freedom to create a business that gives both ourselves as well as all of the people on our team and all of our clients or customers or whatever the case may be, some extra life in one form or another. And yet, I think we leave that out of the equation in terms of all of our decisions. So, for example, when I look at a business model and somebody comes to me and they've got the structure for a marketing system that they've put together, and they've got their number of leads and their conversion rate and what it ends up in net profit. The additional thing that I will always add to that, two additional things that I'll always add to that equation are, does that fit? And when I ask, does it fit, I don't say, does it fit into my business plan? I say, does it fit into a context of what kind of lifestyle do I really want this business that I'm creating to provide for me or to provide, for my team? And so I always come at things from that perspective. And I think the exciting thing about it is, if you really think about it, this is probably the first time in human history that we've actually had all the tools to be able to do this. And you go back historically, and if you probably didn't have an entrepreneur per se, but business was generally essentially coercion. If you owned the business, you had a bunch of employees, and the whole deal was to see how much I can get out of them. And now we're at a point with technology and everything else going on that we can actually come together by choice and create businesses by choice that provide a certain type of life for us as well. And so I think that's the piece of the puzzle that we oftentimes leave out as we're really getting down into the nitty-gritty of the day-to-day. And as Evan said, then the next piece of that is to then take it down to the day-to-day and say, that doesn't really mean anything. Like, philosophy in a vacuum is completely irrelevant. So then to say, what are the techniques or strategies that I can use on a day-to-day basis to make that a reality, and then tie the two together?
It's possible that I think that the question that he just asked might be the most profound question that's been asked in the entire program when considering a business opportunity. How does this opportunity fit into my life?
Yeah, or into the lifestyle that I want. And I'll give you an example. Like, for myself personally, as I looked at all sorts of different opportunities, one of the criteria for me was I never wanted the sort of business where I would have an office and a bunch of employees and have to manage and whatever else. So you can say, oh, that's fine, but in the context of then my as in your terms, my alternate currency, or my currency for evaluating the value of any business idea, would be, it didn't matter to me how profitable an idea was if that particular idea would require hiring people and putting a staff in place and running something out of my office. The profitability was irrelevant. It didn't fit. And you obviously then have to come at things from the perspective that there's multiple different marketing strategies that can get you to the same goal in terms of profitability. And I think that's something that we sometimes think, like, I have to do this, and we get our blinders on and we're going down this one road. And so therefore we think we have to, quote unquote, make all these sacrifices because that's the only way to get me where I'm going. Probably for any business that any of us have and any level of profitability, there's dozens of different ways to get there. What we have to ask ourselves is, which is the way that fits into the sort of lifestyle that I want to create for myself as an entrepreneur? I've heard people say that business is life, and my little shift on that in terms of my mindset is that business creates life. And then all of us as entrepreneurs and owning the business and building the business, what we're literally doing is creating life. And we have to ask ourselves, what life do we want to create? And that's our impact on the world. We can all say, I want to go save the world. And that's actually another point that I bring into this as well, and kind of the overall context is, I was talking to my buddy John Brardy, who's left now, the other day, and he said, I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but what he said was, this is the future. And that's so true. Mm-hmm. And I think we as entrepreneurs oftentimes get caught in this, I'm going to build this whole big business for 10 years or 20 years or whatever, and then I'm going to cash out. or I have to, work 20 hours a week every single day and every single week and sacrifice my family and all of these other things so that I can build this business. And when you get down to it, that's the future. That's what we think of as the future, but this is the future. Today is the future. And so what we have to ask ourselves is, how can we build that business and grow that business, but in the context of our everyday activities? That's our life. That's the life that we're creating with this business, and to do that in a way that we enjoy. And there's a concept that I call our sweet spot, and it's another kind of context that I'll put my thought process in when I'm looking at different business opportunities. And we've oftentimes heard you should focus on your strengths and that sort of a thing. And what I always add to that is to think about the things that you're really passionate about and that you just tend to do, when you're not working, or when, whatever those things are that you just gravitate towards and tend to do. And then I always, basically put it on a Venn diagram with two circles, and I ask myself, what's that overlap of the strengths and the passions, which is what I call your sweet spot. But that's the things that I, as an entrepreneur, or as a leader, those are the things that's my job description, basically, if you want to call it that. But the area that I really want to focus on. And once again, it's coming at it from the perspective that I can do that because there's multiple ways to get to a particular end result. So if I just kind of take that thought process as you do, that few levels deeper, you can figure out that path to get there. But you got to start with the idea that the possibility is there.
Jeff and I were spending some time together talking, and I said, Jeff, just in the last couple of years, I've gotten over my past in a way where previously it seemed like I was afraid of going back to not having any money, poverty. And that was driving me. It was like everything was about, I'm never going to be in that place again. I will never worry about money again. And Jeff said, well, that's actually what I think drives all entrepreneurs is fear. And I was like, in those moments where you realize that there's a bigger picture happening here. Could you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, obviously, that would be one type of that fear. And I think the other one, actually, if we're honest with ourselves, is kind of the fear that we're going to be forgotten. We want to build this business that we sell and it perpetuates itself, or whatever the case is. But when we really get down to it and we're honest with ourselves and look in the mirror, it's basically that we're scared people are going to forget us. And so another one of the perspectives that I have on the business side of it is, I think so many things that we have challenges with in our business, unproductive or less than optimum productivity, or getting distracted or unfocused, or all these other things, we tend to focus on that and try to figure out how to solve that as the problem. But what the real issue is something completely outside of the business. And what I mean by that is I think we oftentimes are using the business as a tool to get our needs met that aren't being met in our personal life. So, if we're bored in our personal life, or don't have a life basically outside the business, then we've got to get all of our needs for excitement and our juice in life and whatever else met inside the business. And if that's the case, you can imagine that you're probably not going to create this really profitable just machine. It's not going to be a smoothly running cash machine because that's boring. So you have a built-in incentive in your business to not create the precise thing that you probably are telling yourself that you want to create or that you're trying to create. And so the odds are pretty good it's not going to happen. There's a great story, and Joe, it was actually, I was on my way years ago flying to Phoenix to speak at one of Joe's seminars. I heard this story on the radio, and I thought it was a great illustration at that point. And they were talking about this guy, and I think he was up in Minnesota or something. He was a fireman. And ironically, he'd been put in jail for arson. And they were interviewing there, and like, you're a fireman, like, what are you doing going around and getting put in jail for fires? And he's like, well, I live in this little town in Minnesota, and there's never a fire, and I was bored. So I had to go light a fire. Give me something to do.
That sounds like a lot of entrepreneurs I know.
So yeah, I think we unconsciously do that in our businesses. Like we create these fires. Either that gives us the chance to kind of ride in on the horse and be the knight in shining armor, and everybody pats us on the back, and we're the hero. Or it alleviates that boredom and gives us that adrenaline rush, basically, in one way or another. We turn our businesses into the roller coaster ride because we're not getting that anywhere else. So I think one of the things to think about is that personal life side of it and its effect on the business. And I think oftentimes we try to keep those in two separate boxes and separate the two and not acknowledge that everything we do in one affects the other, and you really can't separate the two from each other.
So what are some ideas that an entrepreneur can take and use to get out of the traps of trying to take out your personal needs on your business and not thinking strategically, not seeing how the business fits into your life?
A couple that come to mind, and one of them is actually a question that I rarely hear us as entrepreneurs asking ourselves, and I think it's critically important. That question is, how much is enough? And if we don't answer that question at day one or at the beginning of the equation, then no matter how much we have, it's never enough. We can always have more. And and the initial thing that comes to our mind is how much is enough in terms of money. But beyond that, how much is enough in every aspect? If we're looking at a particular specific promotion that we're doing in our business, how much is enough in terms of that response rate or profitability, where we say, you know what, that's a really nice system. Sure, I could probably tweak it, and whatever else to make it a little better, but it's not the best use of my time. So taking that equation and applying it to every aspect, starting on the big picture of our life and our macro perspective on the business, but then taking it down and using it as a part of that context that we do everything else from within. Another idea, and it kind of, go ahead.
Just one sec. Just do this real quick. Ask yourself, how much is enough? And let's just do the first step. How much net after-tax cash per month would be enough to fund the lifestyle that you would like to live? Write it down. How much net after-tax cash per month would fund the lifestyle that you want to live? If you're not writing, you should be. Unless you're already there, like Dean Jackson over there, who's like, that's my idea. Would you run to the mic real quick, Dean? Or maybe skip instead of run. Richard wouldn't skip for me. Can we just have Dean just share for just 1 minute? So what's that number? And Dean, maybe could we just talk for literally just 2 minutes and talk about the philosophy of the pool and your own thoughts on this?
If you're in a swimming pool and you're in water that's over your head, you're in the deep end, which would mean more than enough water to drown yourself or whatever it is. Does it really matter whether that is 10 feet or 1,000 feet deep? You don't know the difference as long as you're in that pool of water that's deeper than more than enough. And a great book that I would recommend for everybody to read is a book called The Number by Lee Eisenberg. And have you read that, Jeff?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, this is fascinating because he started talking about, he was with Esquire magazine and he got a big amount of money when they were sold. And he was 52 and wondering, is this enough money to last the rest of my life? And he started asking his friends what their number was. That's what he equated it to. How much is enough? And what he found was that nobody knew their number. Nobody knew what their number was. And B, that the people who, whatever they had, it wasn't enough. They had $1 million, it was 2. If they had 2, it was 5. If they had 5, it was 10. It was never quite enough. It was always something aspirational. And I'll tell you what, a number that will change your life is to look at what amount of money it would take, net dollars, to run your life for the rest of your life. And I got really curious about that. I asked a golf buddy of mine who's an accountant to run the numbers, and it turns out that if some of you want to look at this number for you, if to net $20,000 a month, net dollars after taxes, indexed for inflation at 3.1% for 50 years, that number is $6,533,000. It's the amount of money that you would have to yield $20,000 a month for 50 years, indexed for inflation, based on a 6.5% annual yield on your number. Now, for some of you, if you know a number like that, it puts everything in context. It puts everything in context. Now it's about getting to that number. At some point, your net worth and your life expectancy are going to intersect. Maybe you're at a point where you don't want to or don't intend on living 50 more years, or you might be at a point where you're going to live 70 more years. Whatever it is, to have a context for what that number is will be amazing. And I started sharing that with some of my friends and found the same thing. Nobody really knows what their number is. And if they don't, they always say it in a way that it's like, well, you know what, I'm never planning on retiring anyway. I mean, I really love what I can't, I'm not the kind of guy, I couldn't play golf all day, or I really have to work, so I can't imagine not making money, as if that they're two mutually exclusive things. You know, think about it as either or. I'm either going to have this number, or I'm going to continue working. Why can't you have that number and continue to add value to people's lives? It's just a context. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
about that.
absolutely. It's a great way of putting it, and it kind of ties in.
Thank you very much, Dean. That was awesome. And by the way, guys, as you can see here, we're really, this week, we haven't been talking to it too much, but we're really talking about a bigger picture here. What we're trying to do is create a great life and use business as a tool. If you now think back about everything we've been talking about, what have we really been saying? What have we really been teaching? What do these principles mean really? Right? But they can't say that on Monday, at the beginning of the program, right? We got to work up to that realization. Go ahead.
And what Dean was saying, to kind of tie into what we've been talking about, the next thing that I asked myself, and I think it's something that's really an issue for entrepreneurs, is, what does winning mean? And from the context of when you're asking how much is enough, and I think one of maybe the fears that a lot of us have is that we grow this business to whatever this income level is that we're pretty happy with. We have a nice life, things are going along well, our bills are paid, we're doing the things we want to do. But I think probably all of us, on some level, equate winning to continuing to grow this business. And that if it's not making more money and it's not generating more revenue or more net profit or whatever the case is, that we equate that to we're not winning, or we're not winning as much, or we're not growing. And I think what we need to do is make a shift to say that's not the only way to win, or the only definition of winning. And so we can say, from the macro level, your business can be cruising along on whatever this is. We'll say it's $1 million a year, and you consciously make a decision that funds my life. I'm having a great life, and my method of winning, continuing to win in the business, is not to increase the profit. It may be to decrease my working hours, or have more fun at the office, or create a better environment for my team, or create a more meaningful or profound impact on my customers or my clients. There's like a lot of other ways to win than just growing revenue or just growing our net profit. I think that's kind of this fear that a lot of us have of creating a really good cash machine business that more or less runs on autopilot. Is we feel like, well, then what am I going to do to win, essentially, or to get that feeling of winning that I think we all want, and we probably wouldn't be entrepreneurs if we didn't want that feeling, or have some sort of competitiveness inside of us. And taking that down to maybe a more day-to-day level.
Can I talk to the win thing just real quick?
Yeah,
remember that thought. I have a concept I call the 2 types of winning. And in our culture, we think the word win means 2 completely different things. For some people, win means to beat the other guy. And a lot of people in business are so caught up trying to beat the other guy that they don't pay any attention to actually building a good business and making any profit, because they're so focused on that. And the other type of win is to get what you want. And I think you need to decide, like, where are you in terms of win? What is a win for you? What is your business focused on winning? How do you think about winning? How do you communicate what a win is to your team?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the ways, like on a day-to-day basis in the business, that I look at that or apply that type of an idea is when we're looking at, did we do good today? Or did we do the right thing today? Did we do the most that we could do? And oftentimes we just look at the results. And that basically tells us, did we win or not? Did we make the profit that we wanted to make from this particular, sales letter that we sent out, or, blog post that we did, or whatever the case may be? The interesting thing to think about is there's oftentimes we equate the actions that we took today with these results, but in reality there's oftentimes a large disconnect in time between those two things. The results that we got today, we think of it as, oh, that was a byproduct of I sent out this ad or this sales letter, or whatever the case was, today or yesterday or whatever whatever it was, and that's what determined those results. What really determined those results is probably what you did or didn't do 3 years ago or 5 years ago. If you were up at 5 a.m. in the morning and practicing writing headlines and improving your ability to write copy or whatever the case may be, so that whatever that ad was or sales letter that you wrote yesterday was a much higher quality piece of marketing. The real thing that affected the results was what you were doing or not doing, potentially years ago. And so we look at that result and say, did I win or did I not win, today or this week or this month? What I oftentimes try to do is to define winning as I have a system, and my definition of winning becomes, did I follow that system? Or I made a commitment. Did I keep that commitment, independent of what result I got? The results are just a byproduct of the actions that we take, and so I think we get so obsessed with this, defining the winning as the results, but the results are just a byproduct, and we have essentially no control over that byproduct per se, directly. It's an indirect control over it.
Yeah, so one of the things that we haven't had the chance to go deeper into here is transitioning our thinking from just focusing on some goal that we want to create to making the goal to create a great journey. Right? So making the goal to create a great journey. And when you hold that idea, it's a little bit abstract. When you hold that idea in your mind, I had the epiphany that I'm probably going to spend the rest of my life in the future.
And it's especially important if you have the perspective that, I love my business and my goal isn't necessarily to sell this out and as Dean was saying, to, play golf the rest of my life because I love what I do and maybe it won't be this business, but it'll be some business. Then it's, especially important what you were saying, Evan, to really come at it from that perspective of, what's that journey that's going to be enjoyable to me along the way.
One more concept.
In terms of specific goals that I would set or not set, or have my team, set or not set, I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make is we have a goal of a result. And so we say, I want to make $100,000 or $1 million, or I want this, marketing system that I'm putting together, this ad that I'm sending out to generate, 27 leads or, whatever that was. Those are all results, and we can never commit to a result. The results are the byproduct of our actions. So I never set a goal to get a result. And when I'm doing what I guess we would call, goals with myself or a team or whatever the case may be, I focus on the action. The action is the thing I can control. The result I can't control, and so I make that shift to then be able to, and then I can say, yes, I did this, no, I didn't do that. It's a very clear, cut and dry sort of a way to look at, what I did or didn't do or what someone on my team did or didn't do. Over the course of a day as well. So I always try to make that shift between the two. And then focusing on the idea that in terms of the results, one of the things that we generally leave out of the equation is the quality of our results or the level of our results is a byproduct of our skills. And, athletes naturally or whatever, inherently do it. Like you look at, say, an Olympic sprinter in a 100-meter sprint, it's a 10-second, or less event, which they may have practiced 1,000 hours, 2,000 hours, 10,000 hours of preparation for 10 seconds of competition. And yet we as entrepreneurs who essentially could, put us in the context of what we really want to be is equivalent to like an Olympic athlete for our business, our ratio in that is exactly the opposite. We've probably practiced 10 seconds and spent 10,000 hours performing, and that's okay if the performance is at the level you want, but if you want to improve your performance, you got to improve the quality of your skills. And so it's a huge thing that I think we all leave out of our equation. We're so busy doing the day-to-day actions, we never take the time to practice. And so structuring into when we're thinking about what are my important things for the day or the week, for myself or for the team, we can all say, oh, it's important to practice, but then getting it down to a specific level. If you want to get better at copywriting, just saying, you know what, this week I'm going to practice writing headlines, and I go down to Borders or Barnes and Noble, and I grab 50 magazines, off the rack, and I take every single one of those headlines and I rewrite them to apply to my business. And I'd invest 2 hours or 5 hours or whatever the case may be doing that. So you've taken kind of a general esoteric concept and said, well, what can I really do with it on a day-to-day basis to know that I'm doing things that will increase the level of my skills? And then, our performance, it feels easy then because we're coming to the table with a much higher level of skills. And so the analogy that I often make is, we set these, and we're taught to set these huge goals. I want to make $10 million and $100 million and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's equivalent to, any of us is, maybe a pickup basketball player. We're going out and shooting some hoop with our buddies on Saturday, and we decide, I'm going to play in the NBA championship, and I'm going to kick some butt. Actually, probably a better example would be, I'm going to go out and play football once in a while on the weekend, and then here's my goal is to win the Super Bowl. Well, I can pretty much guarantee if I'm, playing, an hour every Saturday with my buddies, out in the backyard, and you put me on a football field, in the Super Bowl with some NFL players, I'm in pain really fast. And I can pretty much guarantee you there's no chance in the world I'm going to win. It doesn't matter what affirmations I do, what visualization I do, or anything else. There's no chance. And so I think, what we do, we set all these ridiculous things for our business, and there's obviously nothing wrong with having a lofty goal and ambition and whatever else, but we just have to realize that it isn't happening until our level of skills are equivalent to the level of the outcome that we want to produce. And it may be very disparate,